Hey everybody, I'm going to get this music going. I decided to play the soundtrack from, I have been saying Gree, but apparently it might be Grease. I still don't really know. This game spoke to me so very much, and it's so beautiful. I highly recommend everybody play it. But we're going to listen to that today because it's just so good. Hi, Shell. How are you? Good to see you. We have another episode of The Ranking today, which I'm really excited about. Also, I'm going to go ahead and do just a few little plugs here at the top. I only need 2 more followers on Twitch to reach 100. Let's just do that. That's free. And make sure you like this video and subscribe on YouTube for when I get this uploaded, because I'm getting close to some milestones there that I would like to hit, which is really nice. Hopefully you all do that, and thank you for watching and being a part of the little community that we got here. But we are back with the ranking today. I just want to give a little recap of where we were last time. Last time we went through the 70s. We are marching toward number 1. We are over halfway. Oh, thank you, Shell. So, last time at number 79, we had Ditto. At number 78, we had Clefairy. At number 77, we had Mr. Mime. At number 76, we had Chansey, a nice little pink run there. At number 75, we had Rotom. At number 74, we had Absol, a favorite of mine. At number 73, we had Scyther. At number 72, we had Houndoom. At number 71, we had Steelix. And at number 70, we had Darkrai, which we finally caught in Legends Arceus because I was in the wrong spot the whole time. Oh my gosh, guys, I got my Sephiroth shirt on. Ooh, I love it. We are ready to go. And I am just going to get right into this today. Let me turn that up just a little bit. Let me play this song. So freaking good. So freaking good. Okay, so let's move on to the list. Oh, thank you so much, Shell. I got it on Redbubble, not an ad, but that's where I got this shirt. Redbubble has some good stuff, some not as good stuff, so just make sure you really know what you're getting. All right, so let's move on to a very nice number 69. And at number 69, we have Slowpoke. We had Slowbro earlier on the list. This is one of those instances where I thought we could include more than one entry from the same evolutionary family. And I think Slowpoke has just a little bit more of a case than Slowbro or Slowking, even though it is the first form, and I'm going to explain why. Thank you, Shell. Appreciate that. All right, so Slowpoke. It has an absolutely iconic evolution method, and we see this come to fruition in Pokemon Snap. I have this written down as well. Specifically, I remember in that level of Pokemon Snap, you can lead the Slowpoke to the water with the apples, and it will stick its tail in the water and catch a Shelder, and that Shelder, along with the Slowpoke, will evolve into Slowbro. Looks super cool. Really interesting, kind of mysterious still, because we don't know why the Shelder kind of changes shape, which we love that. Iconic design. It is maybe the goofy mascot. Man, guys, I'm having a really hard time not vibing to this song right now. Ooh, it's so wonderful. So it is one of the goofy mascots of the series. If Bidoof is a goofy mascot, Slowpoke is like above Bidoof. You know what I'm saying? Look at those eyes. Look at those beautiful dead eyes. I know specifically a buddy of mine has a cup with Slowpoke on it, and he's just like, and it's amazing. It's so funny. It has a featured item. The Slowpoke tail is heavily featured in Pokemon Generation 2 and its remake Generation 4. It gets that later generation evolution that we have talked about already. Slowking, Pokemon the Movie 2000, shout out. It also gets a regional form. right here, we got good old Galarian Slowpoke. Also, forgive me if I've said Slowbro already. I think I've just been saying Slowpoke. We have Galarian Slowpoke. I think it's super cute, just beach bumming. Love that little coloration on its forehead. It doesn't change too much, but I do still really like it. And Game Freak, given a regional evolution, is always great. Slowpoke does have its own signature area. We talked about that with Diglett and Dugtrio. It has the Slowpoke Well, which is a personal favorite area of mine, being a Johto person. But I think it is a really well-regarded little area in the fandom in general. And we see Slowpoke all scattered about Azalea Town, and it's really, really cute. The letter that accompanies one of the Slowpoke and Slowpoke Well comes to mind, that we discovered in our Crystal playthrough that I really, really love. Let's see. We have this feature, and we have some TCG features. Love the original art from Fossil. Just super simple, super dopey, perfect, pitch perfect card for Slowpoke. Love to see it. Also get some really great modern cards. We have the Tag Team with Psyduck. Oh, I love this. And the Shelder's biting Psyduck's tail instead. Love it. Ditch and Splash. This is really great. There's also some other arts, but this was like the alt art from Unified Minds, perhaps, if I'm remembering correctly. And then we have this alt art from Scarlet and Violet. This has really become iconic. Look at this thing. This is so beautiful. Slowpoke just poking his head out of the shop. It's so great. I love this card. And again, this Slowpoke is like a mascot for just dopey fun for the series. Like, Slowpoke does not have the resume of Slowbro. It really doesn't. But it is awesome, isn't it, Shell? But it has just representation as a mascot that's so strong that I think Slowpoke should be above Slowbro. And that's really the biggest thing that it has going for it. I think it is also pretty heavily featured in Pokemon Concierge, if I'm not mistaken. I've only seen a couple episodes of that. But yes, at number 69, we have Slowpoke. Overjoyed to have it here. That Slowpoke Well was really a big thing for me personally, and I think others. So let's move on off of the nice number down to number 68. We have number 68, which is Cubone. Cubone, we saw Marowak earlier on our list, being the ghost of Cubone's mother. Marowak also getting that regional form. I had Cubone up here above it. Again, we have another evolutionary family member above its evolution, mostly just because of its mascot status. Excuse me. Cubone does share that iconic lore with Marowak. Cubone is presented as an orphan Pokemon that wears the skull of its mother. That is a very, very heavily featured lore in many games, as well as in media. We see that represented in the Pokemon Origins miniseries, or Generations. I don't remember which one it's called. I think it's Origins. And we also see that in the Detective Pikachu movie. Cubone actually gets a nice feature at the beginning of this movie, where Justice Smith and his buddy are trying to catch a Cubone at the beginning of the movie, and we learn that lore in that movie as well. I talked about the thing with Cubone and its mother, its dead mother, being featured many times in Pokemon media. We see that in the OG Generation 1 games, Gen 3 remakes. We also see it more heavily featured in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. We're going to see a lot of the same resume points as we see with Marowak, like the regional form, and being in the jungle set. I will say this art of Cubone right here is really, really, really iconic. This Arita art perfectly sums up Cubone's deal. It's crying into the night because it misses its mother. It's so sad, so gorgeous. The color's beautiful. The art style is wonderful. This is an iconic card, especially for just being a common in Jungle. Really, really great here. It is a classic shell. You're so right. Now, what really sets it apart from Marowak, because like I said, again, it has a lot of the same resume points as Marowak, is that it is featured in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. It is functioning, again, like a series mascot, like Slowpoke. It is like, the cute version of Marowak. Cubone and Marowak together are key Pokemon in terms of lore, but Cubone is that kind of cutesy mascot that you will see in all kinds of Pokemon media. And it's kind of fitting that Cubone and Slowpoke are together here at 69 and 68 because they kind of function similarly as being above their evolutions because of their mascot status. But let's just keep chugging along. I'm feeling a bit more brief today. Let's move on to number 67. Here we have Mimikyu. Mimikyu is such an interesting Pokemon. It's going to be one of the later generation Pokemon that you will see up this high. This Mimikyu, of course, came to us in Generation 7 in Pokemon Sun and Moon. I find it very, very interesting. It has great lore. The whole idea with Mimikyu is that it is so terrifying a Pokemon that it has to hide under a disguise because just the mere sight of it could kill a person. So what does Mimikyu choose as its disguise? It chooses everybody's favorite Pokemon. Mimikyu is just like, okay, if I can just look like a Pikachu, I'll be able to blend in. It's great. It's such a cool little idea. I didn't really like it at first because I'm just like, really? It kind of feels like a weird knockoff Pikachu thing. But it's so interesting. I could really see like alternate Mimikyu forms. Like maybe there's an Eevee Mimikyu or like a Slowpoke or a Cubone Mimikyu or any starter. I think there's art of that bouncing around online. That could totally be a thing. Mimikyu would want to be any popular Pokemon to be loved. Mimikyu is so great in its lore. I love that. With that, we also have its iconic boss fight. Its boss fight in Sun and Moon is so cool. Again, spoilers here. Sorry for any of you who've not played any of the Pokemon games. I know we have not gotten to Gen 7 in our Pokemon playthroughs yet. But in Sun and Moon, you have to examine an abandoned supermarket where mysterious, spooky things are happening. And once you get to the back, you get to battle the Totem Mimikyu, and it's so freaking cool. We love it. It also is a team member of Gym Leader Rhyme. That is in the newest game, Scarlet and Violet. Not her ace, but a key member of her squad. I talked about its design here. Great design. I think it's really, really creative. Like a really creative, cool idea. Great typing. Fairy Ghost. That is so good. Oh yeah. Right here. Rivals Gengar as a ghost mascot. Gengar is considered by many to be the ghost Pokemon. And when it comes to kind of like spooky, ghostly Pokemon, Gengar takes the cake. But Mimikyu, even though it was introduced way later, it does rival Gengar as a ghost-type mascot for the series. We see that in the like Trick or Trade booster packs, the Halloween booster packs. We also see that in its now legendary Tag Team GX cards here in from Team Up. How I wish I would have picked these cards up when they were cheap. I remember Team Up was the set where I was kind of reintroduced into the Pokemon card hobby. Really, really great. We have this alternate art version of the Gengar and Mimikyu, but honestly, I prefer the regular art version of the Gengar and Mimikyu GX. I love Mimikyu, just really small up here in the top, with Gengar really big. But the team-up cards are so freaking cool. And that really put Mimikyu and Gengar on, like, the same playing field. And Mimikyu has become a ghost mascot for the series, just like Gengar. We have... What else do we have? Oh, yeah. We'll get into more of the cards here while I'm at it. I say we're connected to Pikachu because I wanted to mention this card. This is a special promo that you can find with Team Up blister packs. I think this is really, really cool. Kind of Pikachu seeing its reflection with Mimikyu. I think this is one of the cooler promo cards that they have released in, I say, recent years. This is from 2016 at this point. That feels insane. That feels so recent. Oh, yeah, Shell. Sorry. I missed you there. Love this promo card of Mimikyu. There's a lot of great modern cards here. We talked about the team up. I love this Delta Species card. This is a lot like the Light Toxtricity card that we mentioned earlier in our ranking. Delta Species was something that they did in the Gen 3 era. So they made this special promo giving Mimikyu the Delta Species treatment, which I think rocks. We also have this shiny promo. This was from the Paldean Fate set. Love this card. How Mimikyu's just accompanying the old lady. Very, very cute. And then we also have this Mimikyu V here with Acerola in front of the TV. Mimikyu's getting a lot of action for a Pokemon that is this new. And again, that's why we see it so high on the list. But finally, Mimikyu was featured in Pokken. That is, like, being a key playable character in a huge fighting game is not even that much of its mystique. Reading Mimikyu's resume here, I feel like my boy could be higher. But love this placement here for Mimikyu. I think it's a really, really cool and interesting Pokemon. It's grown on me a lot. And, it has become a fan favorite of the fans and the creators. So let's move right along to number 66. Here we have Decidueye. I was talking about how Mimikyu was a Gen 7 Pokemon that was this high. Well, Decidueye is as well. It was introduced in Pokemon Sun and Moon, Generation 7. It, too, was featured in Pokken Tournament. That's a big feather in its cap, no pun intended. It is a starter Pokemon twice over, because not only is it a starter Pokemon in the Generation 7 games, it is also a starter Pokemon in Pokemon Legends Arceus, like we know from our playthrough. It is I still have never picked Oshawott as a starter in those games, by the way. I picked Cyndaquil a couple times, but the other time I played through, I picked Rowlet. Love that design. I think Rowlet is a great design in and of itself. Another kind of starter mascot. Decidueye kind of takes in its resume. Connected to Rowlet, I have it down there. Something really cool that Decidueye also has going for it is that it has 2 signature moves. When it was introduced in Generation 7, it had the move Spirit Shackle, which was like a ghostly arrow it would shoot. I love how it kind of like shoots the feathers out of it's so sick. But Spirit Shackle, really, really cool. But in Legends Arceus, it also gets the signature move Triple Arrow. So it has twice gotten signature moves, has Decidueye, which I think is a really, really cool and interesting resume point for it. Love that. We've talked a lot about the regional form in Pokemon Legends Arceus. I mean, this thing rips. I mean, the regular design for Decidueye is very, very cool. You have the Robin Hood thing going on, shooting the arrows. But here we have more of a samurai vibe. The fighting grass type rather than grass ghost. Which, I mean, they're iconic design with interesting typing. Both Decidueye designs are extremely iconic. This is definitely one of the coolest Pokemon among the fandom. I would argue that grass ghost typing was very, very cool at the time. We actually did get 2 of them in Generation 6 with Gourgeist and Trevenant, but Decidueye was more interesting, I think, to people because it was a ghost-type Pokemon that was not, like, clearly dead. It was a more kind of like a regular animal that was able to have, like, ghost-type energy. I don't know how to explain that better, but I feel like people really appreciated it for that. Because I feel like there is a hunger among the fans to have designs that incorporate types that aren't extremely obvious but are clever. Because owls are very stealth. I believe Decidueye is partially based on a type of owl that is extinct in Hawaii now. So that kind of... they're very stealthy, rather. Those things are the inspiration for Decidueye having the ghost typing, even though it is not clearly dead or like a spirit or whatever. So I think its design is very clever for that, and I really, really like that. And again, featured in Pokémon Tournament. Decidueye I love. I am almost positive Ash has a Decidueye, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. This list right here, Ash Ketchum's Pokemon, only goes up to Generation 6, it looks like. But I am fairly positive that Ash has a Decidueye. Please correct me in the comments if you are an anime expert. But yeah, Decidueye, I feel great about having it here. Again, I feel like the Pokemon like Slowpoke and Cubone are very connected. Mimikyu and Decidueye I feel are very connected also. Getting a lot of great attention, even though they are newer Pokemon. So, love that. Let's move on to number 65. We have Salamence. And when I was looking through this today, I got to Salamence and I'm just like, oh, okay. We are really starting to get to some of the blue bloods. Now, 65 might feel a little low for Salamence to some people, but when you really think about just the sheer number of great Pokemon and great designs that we have, 65 actually felt pretty appropriate for Salamence. Even though Salamence does have a Mega Evolution and a Paradox form. It has two different forms, which is really big for it. But I'll show off our Mega Evolution here. We have kind of like the Crescent Moon, really fast Salamence. I'm not the biggest fan of this Mega Evolution, but you know, it gets the attention from Game Freak. But I would argue the more popular alternate form of Salamence comes in the form of Roaring Moon. People really, really love Roaring Moon. It is similar to that Mega Evolution. It was certainly inspired, but this kind of gives us that more primal lizard look. This was a very, very popular design when it was released in Generation 9. So Salamence does have the benefit of those two forms. It has some great NPC representation as well. It is the ace Pokemon of Drake in the Generation 3 games, as well as the Generation 6 remakes. It is also a team member of Frontier Brain Tucker. I don't remember if we fought his Salamence or his Charizard. But we did, I remember we fought his Swampert because it was a close one. But Tucker also has a Salamence, which is really, really cool. Right here I put it was a staple of the original Battle Frontier. I mean, we obviously used it in our playthrough. I have used it in a Battle Frontier playthrough before as well. And being one of those pseudo-legendaries that are available in the game made it a staple for that. I talk about the iconic rarity. For those of you that know, we hunted this in our playthrough, like I said. Bagon is located in the deepest depths of Meteor Falls in one specific room, which I think is so cool. And it's not too dissimilar from something like Larvitar in Generation 2. However, you're able to get Bagon a little earlier in the game before the post-game. It would still be tough to have a Salamence by the Pokemon League, but at least it's possible. which I thought was really, really cool. It was a good balance, I think. You couldn't really use Bagon in a playthrough, but you could still obtain it a bit more reliably. Now, Generation 4 probably did that the best with Gibble, but still really, really, really cool. We have a couple of alt arts here for Salamence. Oh, baby. This new one from Prismatic Evolutions, this thing is freaking gorgeous. Oh, I know that there's another Roaring Moon alt art in one of these sets. I don't remember. Might be Paldea Evolve? I don't remember. Anyway, but this one is so strong. Prismatic Evolutions is a really, really good set for the alt arts. But then we also have this one from Journey Together. But this is just Salamence, not Roaring Moon. Sorry, it's going to be a little blurry. Still really cool. I still really like this one. Not quite as strong as the Roaring Moon one, but that's okay. But the thing with Salamence is it's one of the OG pseudo-legendaries. It is one of those OG Elite Four aces, and it gets both a Mega Evolution and a Paradox form. I know this is very popular among the fandom, and so I'm happy to see it here at number 65. Let me get a drink. All right. Let's keep on rolling along. Number 64. We have Onix. Onix cannot be denied. Another instance of a pre-evolution being higher on the list than its evolution. Onix is maybe one of the most iconic first bosses in the history of gaming. As we see with Brock's Onix at the Pewter City Gym, it is such a cool obstacle, and it is a Pokemon that appears so imposing when you first meet it in that gym battle, but then later in the game you realize Onix ain't nothing, baby. It's not that tough. It's so great. I love its simple but elegant design. Gen 1 had a lot of that. Simple but elegant. Love to see Onix here on the list. Let's talk even more about it. So we talked about how it is an ace Pokemon for Brock. It is his ace in the Gen 1 games, Gen 3, and in Let's Go. So it gets a lot of that. It's also, I should say times 4. It is an ace Pokemon of Brock in the Gen 2 and Gen 4 games as well. It gets a lot of nice NPC representation because we also see it as a member of, we see it as a member of Rourke's team in Generation 4. I don't even think I have that written down. It is a member of Elite Four Bruno's team in Generation 1 and Generation 2. Even though I hate that they didn't evolve his Onix into a Steelix in Generation 2. That would have been a great opportunity, but whatever. You also see Onix as a team member of Giovanni. When you fight him in Generation 1 and 3, in the Celadon City game corner, he has an Onix on his team. He does not have one later, but he has one there, so it does have a nice little evil team feature there. I mentioned it's on Rourke's team. You'll see Steelix a lot on other teams. Excuse me. And it's like heavily featured in areas like Rock Tunnel, Union Cave, Iron Island. Onix is just very pervasive. It's kind of like Zubat in that way in like those classic Gen cave areas. Onix is just everywhere, man. It's so great. Going to the anime, it is a featured Pokemon of Brock in the anime as well. We see that Onix is always tied to Brock. There is that iconic anime episode, who could forget it, when Ash loses to Brock the first time because Pikachu's a bad matchup, but then Ash kind of powers up his Pikachu and finds a way to turn the sprinklers on in Brock's gym, so then Pikachu can conduct the electricity and knock out Onix. It's very silly, very anime. But we always remember it. Man, that frame of Onyx just being lit up by the electricity. It's beautiful. I love that OG 90s animation. We love that. I already talked about it being iconic design, iconic first boss. That's kind of where... That was like my first rah-rah moment when I saw Onyx here. Featured in new Pokemon Snap. Love any Pokemon to be featured in Pokemon Snap. And it was featured as in the original TCG base set, which is a big deal. We have just this... we're big here. We just have this regular old Sugimori art, but we got that beautiful first edition stamp and that beautiful Shadowless there on the side. It's so funny. Anytime I'm just like, I think I want to own one first edition card, you know? Because they're so rare and so expensive. I'm like, what if I get Onyx? It's just a common. What if I just get Onyx? It's probably still $100 or something. I don't know. I don't know how much that would be, but Onyx is featured in base set, which is a huge deal always. We talked about a lot of its NPC representation. We see the later generation evolution with Steelix, of course. A few last things to mention here. It has an iconic in-game trade. In the Generation 2 games, there is an Onyx available to you in Violet City, which is very, very helpful to fight the gym leader Falconer. You just need to trade a Bellsprout for it. So you take a Pokemon that would have a disadvantage against the flying type and trade it for a Pokemon that has an advantage against the flying type, which is super cool. You can catch an Onyx in Union Cave right after, but you can't get there until you beat Falconer. So that is an in-game trade that I utilize all the time. And I think was a really, really nice little piece of game design in the Generation 2 games. And then finally, lastly, I wanted to just shout out Lorekeeper Toby. He's a YouTuber who I have always really enjoyed, and I bet a lot of you have as well. He's kind of a Pokemon theory person. And he always talks about the Crystal Onyx, which was a special form of Onyx that appeared in the Pokemon anime. So I just wanted to shout that out. Onyx is iconic. Onyx can't be denied, baby. You could argue he could be higher on this list if I'm being honest, but I have him here at number 64, which I think is high enough, at least, for one of the greatest first bosses in gaming. I was vibing to this earlier today. All right. Let's move on to number 63. Here at number 63, we have Raichu! Raichu. I was wondering when Raichu would show up. We already saw Pichu on the list. We have not yet seen Pikachu. We sure will. Spoiler alert. I think you all know we're going to see Pikachu later on this list. But we have Raichu. Raichu is iconic mostly for being connected to Pikachu. I mean, what are you going to do? It's just like if you are directly connected to Pikachu, you're going to ride those coattails a little bit. We also get a great regional form. I feel like Alolan Raichu is just a little bit, not controversial, just a little bit divisive. I think it's a really cool idea. It is an electric psychic type. And you have this idea that it's kind of like surfing on its tail. So it plays on the surfing Pikachu idea that they introduce like in Generation 1. But it also plays with like psychic levitation. It plays with maybe like magnetic levitation. I love the cute little eyes that they give it to kind of indicate that it's like seeing a little bit more with that psychic type. I think Alolan Raichu is really cute, really strong, and a really interesting play on a few things and surfing Pikachu. A play on Pokemon's history, honestly. Really, really cool, Alolan Raichu. I want to shout that out. Raichu is mostly known for being the iconic ace of Lieutenant Surge in the Gen 1 games, of course, also in Generation 3, and 2, and 4, and 8 with Let's Go. Raichu is always Lieutenant Surge's boy. We, of course, get that iconic anime fight where Lieutenant Surge in the anime canon, he evolved his Pikachu right away with a Thunderstone because he wanted to make it stronger. He wanted to make it Raichu. But Ash knows that if you evolve your Pikachu too early, it won't learn those quickness-based attacks like agility and quick attack. And that is how Ash outsmarts Lieutenant Surge in the end with his Pikachu against Raichu match. That's a great, great anime episode. Also, I mean, we get a lot of good NPC features here. A sneaky amount, I would argue, kind of like Slowbro. Not only is it Lieutenant Surge's boy, it is featured on Gym Leader Volkner's team, and this Raichu is actually really cool because Raichu is not just featured in Platinum, like Electivire, for example. Raichu is featured in Diamond and Pearl as well. Volkner famously only has 2 Electric-type Pokemon on a 4-Pokemon team in the original Diamond and Pearl, but it gets one of those coveted slots. It is a key Pokemon of How in the Sun and Moon games, so it's a team member of a champion. It's also a team member of another champion with Trace in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Of course, well, I shouldn't say Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. It would be Let's Go Eevee. Yes. Because he would get Pikachu in the other game. Anyway. So, it is on a couple champion teams, which is very cool, as well as some really iconic gym leader teams. Featured in Pokemon Snap, we love to see it. Some really nice, TCG representation. I'll kind of go in order of my faves. We have just this beautiful little fossil hollow, which is really, really great. We have the base set hollow, which is huge even. I also thought it was really cool that Raichu got a holographic in base set as well as fossil. So out of those first 3 sets, Raichu gets 2 hollows, which is super sick. Oh, love this one. So great. The Sugimori art just rips. It's so awesome. We have Dark Raichu. This right here was the first secret rare card in the Pokemon TCG. This Dark Raichu, you can see in the bottom right, it says 83 out of 82, which means it was a secret rare card. It is so cool. It was in the Team Rocket set. Love those colors in the background. So I really want to shout that out because it's so interesting. It's a nice little piece of TCG history, is Dark Raichu. Gosh, this music is so cool. I will try to find... I mentioned a Alolan Raichu. There is a nice little team-up card. Raichu and Alolan Raichu. Oh, yeah. There's a couple different arts as we see, but I'll get to the alt art here. Love this silly little one where Alolan Raichu's pulling on regular Raichu's tail. As you can see, it's pretty expensive. Any alt art from this era is going to be very, very delightful. So Raichu gets tons of great TCG representation, as well as a sneaky large amount of NPC representation. You might think of it as a second banana to Pikachu, but Raichu is very much great in its own right. In our list of the 151 greatest, it lands at number 63. So, let's keep moving. Number 62, we have Raikou! Raichu at 63, Raikou at number 62. This is the first of the Legendary Beast trio to be featured on our list. I think this is a correct placement for it. It was always my least favorite, so maybe that's why we see it before. Maybe if we see Entei and Suicune on the list, maybe, who knows. It was always my least favorite. It does share the same great lore with Entei and Suicune. Raikou was a Pokemon that was not Raikou technically in the past in Johto. It died in a fire and then was resurrected as Raikou by Ho-Oh. So Raikou shares that great lore with Entei and Suicune. All 3 of those Pokemon have that same origin story. But Raikou also gets a paradox form in Generation 9. Here we have, this is Raging Thunder? Right? Raging Bolt, that's it. Sorry. Raging Bolt. It's very interesting. I thought it was kind of stupid how it was a mix between like a Brontosaurus type thing and a cat. But apparently that is, there is some sort of real myth, it's kind of an oxymoron, representation to be had here with like a long neck cat. I won't get into that because I'm not an expert on it, but this has grown on me a little bit. I like the thunder cloud around its head, kind of, it's like in the clouds. This isn't my favorite, but it is very popular and shows faith in Raikou. One of the original roaming Pokemon, this is very interesting. Raikou, Entei, and Suicune were roaming Pokemon in Gold and Silver. You would find them at the Burn Tower, and then they go all around the region, and they're hard to track down. They were the original Pokemon to do that. You would encounter that later with like Latias and Latios in Generation 3, for example, but this Raikou was one of the first to do that. It is featured in Pokemon Chronicles, a TV special featuring Ethan. You will see him facing off with a Raikou, which is a really nice feature for it. Featured in Pokemon Coliseum. It shares a lot of the same resume points as Entei and Suicune. I just think it has maybe the weakest design of the three, in my opinion. And there are some other features for those Pokemon that kind of set them apart. It is a Smash Bros. Pokeball, I believe, in Melee, maybe others, which I think is very cool. But let's get into the TCG here. Man, these Neo Revelation Hollows of the Legendary Beasts are so sick. Some of my favorite OG Hollows. I love this art of Raikou. The Entei and Suicune ones are great as well. Another Sugimori art, but not just like the key art plastered on a card. This was a very special piece of work. I really, really like this art. They look so regal and almost creepy. I love it. We have a Gold Star card here for Raikou as well. Entei and Suicune get this treatment, but a Gold Star card is one of the rarest cards you can get. Really, really great to see here. Oh, very cool. I'm kind of appreciating this for the first time. Only 80 HP, interestingly. And then we get this great Crown Zenith alt art. Look at Raikou racing across the land. This thing rips. Oh, I forgot about this card. All three of the Legendary Beasts get an alt art card in Crown Zenith. And I've talked a lot about how I think Entei and Suicune are superior to Raikou, but I will say definitively that Raikou gets the best alt art in Crown Zenith. That I can definitely say. This thing rips. This thing is so sick. Oh, I love this card. I need to get this card. Oh my gosh. So, Raikou, love Generation 2. Definitely deserving to be on this list. One of the OG legendaries, OG roaming Pokemon. Great lore, great cards. Just a super, super solid Pokemon here at number 62 on our list. And let's move along to number 61. And here we have Togepi. It is very interesting to have a baby Pokemon here on the list, but Togepi kind of features, it kind of has a lot, it has hands in a lot of places. And people might think Togekiss might be a more key Pokemon, but I think its origin as Togepi is more critical to the Pokemon narrative, to the Pokemon story, I would say. And I'll explain to you why. So, first of all, Togepi is the featured Pokemon of Misty in the anime. I think I talked about in the Aerodactyl entry on our list here how I believe in the OG anime we are introduced to the Togepi egg in that episode. And that's still in Generation 1. So I say here, it is a Generation 1 and Generation 2 bridge Pokemon, much like Meryl, much like Donphan, kind of, but Togepi is like the key one. It is heavily featured in the gang, with the gang, in the original anime. That is very, very valuable in terms of visibility. It was the original egg Pokemon. It kind of like is an egg itself. It was the mascot for that new mechanic, which is so vital in the history of Pokemon, breeding and hatching eggs. Ooh, excuse me. And in Generation 2, it was the original baby Pokemon. We see a lot of baby Pokemon in Gen 2, Elekid, Smoochum, Magby, whatever. But Togepi was the face. It is a cute mascot. I say here, series mascot. So it's the mascot of egg Pokemon. It's the mascot of baby Pokemon. It's one of the mascots of cute Pokemon. And it was featured with Misty. We're starting to stack here with Togepi. And right here, it's a gift Pokemon times 2. Because not only is it gifted to you in Generation 2 and its remake, it is also gifted to you by Cynthia in Generation 4. I believe it is only in Platinum, if I'm not mistaken. And speaking of Cynthia, it is connected to Cynthia because Cynthia has the Togekiss and also gifts you that Togepi. So it has a strong connection to the strongest champion in the series. It also has a strong connection to one of the series' great villains in Volo. So not only is Togepi connected to one of the greatest heroes of the series, it's connected to one of the greatest villains of the series. We actually see Volo use a Togepi in an earlier battle. He doesn't just use the Togekiss. So that is so cool. Togepi has, like I said, it has its hands kind of everywhere. And I say here, it gained an iconic evolution with Togekiss. And I'm not even mentioning the fact that Togepi gained the Fairy type when the Fairy type was introduced. And that is one of the reasons Togekiss is so great today. It was obviously strong when it was introduced. We used one in our playthrough of Platinum. But now that Togekiss has the Fairy type, it's even better. I do specifically remember using a Togekiss in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, the Gen 4 remakes that are much maligned, but still fun. And it really helped me with Cynthia's Garchomp. So, gained an iconic evolution, gained an iconic typing, honestly. And then we have here its Neo Genesis card. Man. Oh, this artwork is so evocative and lovely. We see the leaves changing on the tree. We see that just cute little face in the hollow. In the hollow. H-O-L-L-O-W, not hollow, H-O-L-O. Love this art of Togepi. Love Neo Genesis, one of my favorite sets of all time. All the Neo sets rule. So, it's funny, talking about Togepi, I'm like, Togepi could be higher, man. It is one of the mascots of the series. It has great connections to great characters. Misty, Cynthia, Volo, really awesome. So, Togepi is very, very worthy of our number 61 slot here in the greatest Pokemon of all time. Very happy to have it here. And another Gen 2. Another Gen 2. We love it. Before I get to our last entry here, I do just want to mention the music that I've had in the background. It is the Grease soundtrack by Berlinist. Grease is one of my favorite games of all time at this point. I was so moved by it. Again, it's a very short experience. It's only about 3 to 5 hours. But I loved it so much. This is an ad for that video game. If they want to give me a little money, please do. But really, really great game. Beautiful. Art style and music together, one of the greatest experiences in gaming. Anyway, back to the list. Let's get to number 60. Ooh. Who do I have at number 60? I don't remember. Okay, great. It is Zekrom. So here we have Zekrom. As you can see, I've linked a lot of TCG cards on there. Zekrom's having a little bit of a moment now because they are releasing the Black Bolt and White Flare sets very soon in English. If they haven't, no, they haven't quite yet. But Zekrom is a cover star twice. It is a legendary Pokemon, one of the iconic legendary Pokemon by way of being a cover star. Of course, we see it on the cover of Pokemon White. Yes. And White 2 or Black 2? Black 2. So, very, very cool. Its design has grown on me a lot. I really like how Zekrom, even though it is an all-black Pokemon, we do still see those little hints of blue that kind of pop out, especially when it's attacking. I think that's really cool. We see that with Reshiram as well, with red against its white body. So they do a really good job of adding subtle color elements to Pokemon that are all black or all white, in this case all black. Really, really neat. We have a nice fusion form for in Pokemon Black 2. Oh, we have a Traverse Town thing here. Let's see. Zekrom Fusion. There it is. So here is Zekrom fused with Kyurem in Pokemon Black 2. Very, very cool. It gets that really sick fusion form. We're seeing a lot of just like art of what people think the original dragon would look like. Don't worry, we'll get there when we do our Gen 5 stuff. So it gets that really cool fusion form. It has that great lore going all the way back with the champions of old in Unova, the brothers that were fighting over truth or ideals. And we kind of see that laid out later in the current story in Pokemon Black and White with N and the player character. We love that. Featured Pokemon of N. N is one of the iconic human characters of the franchise. Very, very popular. People love N. And Zekrom's very heavily connected to N, as well as Reshiram. Speaking of which, that'll be a really nice segue into the TCG cards, because I say Zekrom is connected to N. This, oh my gosh, this illustration rare card is so beautiful. Gosh, man, I love this. This is so, so cool. So obvious connection to N here. Love to see that. Man, I gotta keep appreciating this. The colors are so great. Even N's hair here looks beautiful. We have the new, or is this the old one? Yeah, this is the OG kind of like monochrome card for Zekrom. As you can see, it's from 2011 down there in the left corner. Goodness Lord. But we also get another monochrome Zekrom card in the new set, Black Bolt. If I can find it. Not that one. Excuse you. Hold on. Where is it? That's not the card I'm looking for. Very interesting. It's not in White Flare, is it? No, it's not. Anyway, hold on. Let me find it here. Here we go. This is the Zekrom card we're looking for. We have this great Zekrom card. This is another awesome, like, monochrome Zekrom card. And another great illustration rare card in Black Bolt as well. Zekrom gets some really great representation here in this upcoming set. Gosh, that is beautiful. We have, yes, the Reshiram tag team. Oh my goodness. This and Zekrom Reshiram tag team, I believe, yes, this is from Cosmic Eclipse in the Sun and Moon era. This thing rules so freaking hard. I'm very, very happy to have this in my collection. It's a very expensive card now. but this is one of the iconic cards from that era. It really, really is awesome and really exemplifies the tag team thing. It was also really kind of one of those first sets, Cosmic Eclipse, to feature the trainers with the Pokemon in like an illustration rare way. Really, really cool. This is a great, great card. Love this card. And also has a tag team with Pikachu. This was the Sun and Moon promo, which this one rips, but there is another really great Zekrom and Pikachu tag team card. We, of course, see like the gold full art. We see the rainbow full art, the regular full art, but I want to point out just the regular old GX. This one is also awesome. I love how Pikachu's like, yeah. Very, very cool. So Zekrom has gotten a ton of great TCG representation. But with that brings us to the end of this round. Wow! I can't believe we are through number 60. I wonder when we're going to see Reshiram. Y'all have to think about that until the next episode. But really, Zekrom being a cover star, being like one of those OG like cover legendaries, connection to N, that's going to be its main resume points here to being this high on the list. But maybe I should have put Togepi above it. Honestly, if I had to do the list again, maybe I would put Togepi above Zekrom. I got fired up talking about Togepi today. But thank you all for watching today. Shell, thanks for being here. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you for watching on YouTube. I know people have really tuned into the VODs a little more there, so I really appreciate that. That helps me a lot, honestly, so thank you. I will be back probably next week with another installment as we march towards number 1 on the 151 greatest Pokemon of all time. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you when I see you. Thanks again. Peace out, kiddos.